Good morning. Thank you for joining us. You are watching KUHS, the stream on Melody Drive. This is the Weekend Boost. I am your host, Paul Lane, author of the Caregiver's Handbook, the Self-Help Love Story. And I have with me today the station manager, owner, DJ extraordinaire, Mr. Henry Archuleta. Guys, today we're going to have a really exciting show for you. I'm excited to go into what we're going to be talking about today. We had a guest that wasn't able to make it today, so we're going to go ahead and take the opportunity to finish off this Hispanic Heritage Month with some good controversial topics. So, guys, before I get started on the show, I want to just put out a couple of announcements. Remember, calma, calma, calma. I support calma 100%. If you are thinking about writing, if you're looking for mentorship, get a hold of us at the station, get a hold of me, get a hold of calma. Find out how you can get involved either as a mentor, as an author, as a participant, as a member. Join calma today, guys. Also, I want to shout out to Dorothy Ruby, my lady. We are celebrated our 3-year anniversary yesterday, and I like that. It's been a great 3 years, and I love you, Dee. I love you. Tonight, guys, if you're thinking about something to do tonight there's going to be a special show over at 4747 West Colfax at Colfax and Wolf. That is the VFW Hall. There's going to be a comedy show there. Tickets are $15 at the door, $10 in advance. Bill Galvan, a personal friend of mine, will be performing there. Junior Beta and Little Lonnie tonight at 8 o'clock. Get your tickets now. If not, $15 at the door. Dee and I plan to be there, and hopefully we'll see you there. Again, it is Hispanic Heritage Month, and I think it's a wonderful thing to celebrate our culture. It's a wonderful thing to appreciate our history. But the bad part about it is that we don't have a lot of history. Even though we've been here through the centuries, our history is erased.
A special show over at 4747
You
West
go
Colfax.
to history books, and you go to textbooks and social studies books. You'll see all kinds of heroes and all kinds of contributors, but you won't see Latinos, Hispanic. You won't see any people of indigenous blood represented. Why is that, Henry?
You know, you're really intense this morning. I like that. You know, and knowing you, Paul, you've always had a ritual of how to speak to the public. And, you know, you're going to cover a lot of different things, topics that everybody wants to hear. We didn't say what we were going to cover, but you brought in the list. And
yes.
I knew you would, because that's the way you are. So we're going to cover a lot of stuff about Hispanic Heritage Month. And, you know, why is it just a month? Can't we have the whole year?
Absolutely, absolutely. And you know, the thing about it is I'm Latino, Hispanic, Chicano. I'm Chicano. But I am not Chicano for 30 days of the year. You know, and on tomorrow, on October 16th, I'm still going to be Chicano, and my history is still going to remain.
They're going to erase it by on the 7th.
It used to be.
Used to be. So tell us, you know, let's go over some of this stuff. You've got it down about, you know, the Columbus thing. You've got things that you've got written down. We're going to go over step by step and you know, bounce off each other and talk about all there is to know about.
Oh, I love it, man.
The variables and the situations that us Hispanics, Latinos have gone through. You know, we've gone on to get highly educated now. And that's what's nice, is these highly educated Latinos, like the doctor that you're going to go, book sign that you were talking about earlier with Calma, all these different things that they're doing. Everybody's putting their doctorate degrees on them. Now, you walk up to them, oh, you're with who? Are you the cleaning lady? No, my name is Doctor.
Yeah.
They look at you like, you know, unless you walk in, you got the glasses, you look good.
And a tie.
Yeah, a tie and everything. You have to look the part, you know.
Oh, man. I used to live in Bear Valley, and I had a very immaculate yard, and I took a lot of pride in ownership, you know. And I would always be out there working on my yard, and people would constantly, for the 13 years I lived there, people would drive by and say, hey, how much do you charge? And they thought I was the gardener. And, you know, that was a real, I got angry. It used to really upset me, you know, and it's like, hey, you couldn't afford me.
And it was fun, you know, like I used to work at the light rail, and people would come in and say, is the boss in? I go, yeah, well, I had the keys to the offices and everything. Yeah, let me go. Come on back here. I'd open the door, go in there, sit down at the desk. How can I help you? They were stunned.
Only Henry.
Only Henry, yeah. And it didn't look the part. And to them, it don't look the part. You're not supposed to be in these positions of power, these positions of, you know, you're the one who is calling the shots. They don't like that. They also don't like when you know, you are delegating authority in any kind of situation or position. You can't delegate authority. You can't tell me what to do. You're not like me. You know?
Yes. And so there's a new rage. There's, you know, there was always what they call ghetto rage, you know, and now there's white rage. And, you know, here's what I have
I like the way you said white rage. It's true.
No, it's really a term.
True. Yeah, yeah.
And here's what I have. I kind of heard this the other day, and I've adopted this philosophy or this thought, and that is this. When you're used to getting 100%, 98% seems like oppression.
Yes, it does. It's like wild.
And when you're used to getting 5%, all of a sudden you get 7%, and it seems like you're on top of the world.
Yeah.
So we got to keep going. You know, we have you know, they're talking about the paper ceiling, and I don't want to go too many
No,
topics.
but we want to still talk about. We're going to touch on all these fun things.
Yes, yes.
You brought in a lot of topics, and you know, there's some friends out there. We were posting a few things on Facebook.
Oh yeah.
And it's just for the interaction with people, so we can get them talking, and put themselves out there and put in comments things that you and I go and that's what this is about.
Head scratchers.
And I don't have lice either.
I will worry about keeping my distance.
Like the perritos, you know.
So yeah, there is an element of a feeling of feeling threatened. You know, when I was at public service many years ago, I was a valuing diversity instructor, and I would get all kinds of people in. I would teach PhDs, I would teach GEDs, you know. Valuing diversity was a topic that we taught the whole company at public service.
And you look at it this way, you know how you just said that. There's the variables.
Yes.
Because you have these titles does not really mean a lot. Even though you have the educational background, you have to have experiences. And the resiliences. And there's a lot of narratives out there that's put together about that.
Oh yeah, there's implied ownership or benefit or privilege. And
yes.
You know, I would get so used to this comment. Why do they hire minorities when they could hire qualified people? And I would listen to it, and after a while I would just chuckle to myself, because it was like, what you really, so let me rephrase what you're saying. What you're really saying is, why they are hiring minorities when they could hire white people? So how does that sound from my perspective?
I'm on this run for this word minority.
Oh.
There's no such thing.
I've never liked the word.
There's no such thing.
Never liked
You're
the
not
word.
minor. You're not less than.
No.
We're together. We're more.
We're another group.
We're more than.
Yes, we're a contributing group. We are, you know, we've gotten the short end of the stick.
Yes.
You know, people of color, I mean, guys,
No, that's a
I'm
good
not
thing.
trying to raise any neck hairs, but the fact of the matter is, we have gotten the short end of the stick through history.
And that's a commonly coined phrase now, people of color. Let me reverse it. Colored people. So people that are colored, what color? What colors, bro? Tell me the colors.
Hey, man, any color.
Tell me yeah, I knew you were
Every
going
shade.
to Every shade. You mean I'm going to stay this color?
So, yeah.
Yeah, look at me, nomás.
So people of color, that's an you know, I love the phrase people of color, and I agree with you. Minorities is a very minimizing term, and it does take a lot from who, you know, when I would hear the term growing up, I would always feel like a minority, like I was a minor, like I was like minimized. And I don't like that phrase anymore. I won't use it. I really won't. Just like I won't use the name of mass killers. You know, I don't. Again, let's keep on the topic.
Yes, no. We knew we were going to go here, though, Paul, right? We talked about it. We knew we were going to go. We had to, you know, if you don't kind of do subtopics or extras, it don't make this show as good as you have it. It's a great show.
With that, let's talk about the Parkland verdict.
Ooh.
Just for a brief moment. So the murderer, who I don't even remember his name. I wouldn't say it if I knew it. The murderer got life in prison without parole. And it was a real tragedy because he killed 17 people without remorse. Heinous. Put the gun to people's chest and pulled the trigger. And the only reason he quit killing people is because he ran out of people to kill.
Jeez.
No, that was his statement.
Yeah.
And they gave him life without parole. Now it's coming out. Now it's coming out that there was someone in the jury who was threatening someone else in the jury.
Whoa.
I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's up with that?
Well, this is the system that they brought over from Europe. They used to have the 3 judges up there. If they conferred amongst each other, they wanted you put to death for stealing some apples from the prince's garden. You'd be put to death.
Stealing apples.
Yeah.
Talking about stealing apples, what about Brett Favre?
I couldn't stop laughing.
Hey.
I was dying laughing. Oh,
Hey.
He texted him, "Oh, you're gonna move over $1 million? No, I'm only gonna be able to move over 465,000 today."
What happens if the media gets a hold of this? Will we get in trouble? Wait a minute. Here's what bothers me now. So Brett Favre stole $3 million, or however $1 million, or illegally accepted.
His lawyer says he didn't know nothing about it. He was just standing
He was
up there.
innocently there. The money just started popping into his pockets. But he paid it back. And
It's
you know,
all
guys, if you steal a car, can you go back and pay for the car after you get caught?
Or go give it back.
Give the car back and not get in trouble? And what if you have classified documents and you bring them back? Should you get away scot-free?
You're talking about that guy.
That one guy. Who shall be made unnamed.
There's a guy.
Twice impeached, disgraced. Yeah. The espionage, seditious conspirator.
And there's a lot of people out there who still love him.
Why? Why, Henry?
Well, there's a friend that we know. His name is, I'll say his name, Albert Quintana.
Hi, Albert.
Albert, if you're watching, we love how you talk about things. And I always say this, and it goes perfectly. If you like Trump, it's like, and you're Latino or whatever, it's like roaches for raid. And it's like
trees for the axe.
Yeah. We had to tear him up. We had to tear him up, man.
Oh, man. Oh, I kind of was on the outside this morning, and I saw a conversation between you and him, and you were talking about Herschel Walker.
Yeah.
Herschel, a competent Walker, and there was a comment made that Herschel Walker's going to win. And I just saw that, and I thought to myself, what a shame. Is it the evangelical Christians? Is it the Republicans? Is it the right? Who is this group of people who will compromise all other values, integrity, honesty, competence for control of a woman's body?
And then they're repetitively putting these ads on TV with, they had this one lady, they made sure she was not a good-looking lady, talking about how she was bleeding out and all this, just to fight against these guys who are anti-abortion. And it's like, they're making this.
Female autonomy, man.
For politics.
You know, I've never had a vagina. And I have.
You know, bro, I can't say that. Start over.
Okay, so I don't have a womb.
There we go.
And I don't feel like any human being without a womb should even have a voice on this topic.
That's what I'm talking about.
And that's my opinion. I'm entitled to it like you.
Well, have you ever thought of it this way? Some of these guys don't have the male genitalia. There are oocies. I left off the P so you can add in your own.
I don't know. I can't figure it out.
I can't either.
I keep seeing these TikTok videos of these
those TikTok things that you
senators and congressmen that are saying these ridiculous things about women's bodies and about women, about birth and about the life of a child, and that they're taking fully developed children and killing them, and it's like,
what are you
man,
tripping on?
you guys got it all wrong. That's
Is it
not what it's
because
about.
they legalized the what are those new ones? The mushrooms? Is it because they legalized?
Oh yeah, the
everybody's taking
psilocybin
them?
mushrooms. It must be. Must be.
Jesus.
I don't know, man. I can't figure it out. I can't figure out how women are being subdued in this country. How women in this entire world are being oppressed, are being subjugated.
Women Without women, men are nothing.
Oh,
They
absolutely,
are the
absolutely.
recreators. They're the ones who recreate.
You know, I've said it again,
They
I'll
make
say it.
men.
Yes.
And they should. Some of these women made some horrible men.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
I tell you, I've talked about the age of the divine feminine, which we are in now. I am so in favor of feminine leadership. I'm in favor of a woman president. I 100% support female leadership in every aspect of law.
Because they do lead. Have you ever been
Because
around
they,
a leader, a
oh
woman
man,
who's
ego,
a leader?
men with egos, men
Mhm.
with egos. When you had, powerful men, white men, rich men,
They want to beat down on women. They want to slap them. They want to use them,
Mhm.
abuse them,
Mhm.
and throw them away.
mm-hmm.
They have no clue.
Absolutely, absolutely. And all of this seems to have a one commonality, and and this is difficult, and people are going to hate me for this, but it's called capitalism. Capitalism is designed so that you can profit the most that you can, and the one who works the hardest gets, to the top of the ladder. But the problem with that is that they have to cut all costs as much as they can. Well, they can't cut material costs. They have a limit. They can cut their material costs so much. They can cut their utility costs so much. They can cut their office space costs so much. But they really can cut their labor costs. And that's the one place where they can take out the most. And guess who pays for that?
That's right.
It's the poor guy.
Mhm.
Well, pick up yourself by your bootstraps. Well, it's not that simple.
I don't even have no boots.
I couldn't even buy boots, man. Yeah, absolutely. So capitalism has always been built on the premise that someone has to win and someone has to lose. But whenever you lose, the one that's, it's becoming, the gap's gone wider and wider and wider and wider and wider. And the reason I want to talk about this because Ronald Reagan, and it's all coming together. Ronald Reagan back in the 1980, actually started with Nixon. Ronald Reagan declared war on America, war on drugs. And in 1984, they opened the first private prison. Did you know that?
Yeah.
The first private prison was opened in 1984. The war on drugs started in 1980, and CIA started bringing in cocaine.
Yeah, they're the ones who are the drug people.
The CIA were the drug dealers, and they came in and started bringing in cocaine to the inner city, black and brown and poor white kids.
And then let's get them in the prison.
And then they criminalized it. They really criminalized it because crack cocaine became very easy.
Yeah.
And so they took that crack cocaine and they made a very, very large difference in the charge between powder cocaine and white cocaine and crack cocaine. And so what happened was the war on drugs became a war on black and brown men, and the prison populations that bear this out.
Escalated.
And then he went and he made a huge tax break to the rich. And there's another reason I want to know, Albert, why do you support tax breaks for the rich? Why do you support poor people being made poorer? The entire Republican Party, and I don't want this to become a political show, but this is a fact. They have announced that they want to get rid of not only abortion, but they want to get rid of birth control. They want to eliminate same-sex marriage. And then they're going to go after your Social Security. Why do you want to vote for that? It's like the trees who vote for the axe because its handle was made of wood. It doesn't make sense, Henry.
No. And a big shout out to Eric Vigil.
Hey, Eric, man.
A big shout out to Marcina Velasquez. She's out of New Mexico.
Hey, how you doing?
Arturo Rodriguez. Yes. Paul. The other Paul will be in here.
Yes. Yes. For Deep Cuts a little later, Mr. International.
Yes.
Wrong show. Hey, guys, thank you for tuning in to us. Yeah, we do talk about some controversial topics on this show, and from time to time, I really like to let my hair down.
I like the way you put that. Let your hair down. Yeah, let it loose.
But it doesn't end there because Ronald Reagan, was followed by George H.W. Bush, who also had a war on drugs. But
Head of the CIA.
Head of the CIA. Guess who's bringing in the cocaine? But wait, let's go back a couple of generations to a guy by the name of Prescott Bush.
Yes.
Prescott Bush, who funded the Nazi cause
And made a bunch of money.
and made a whole bunch of money.
Oh, don't forget the big banks that brought in a big giant ship.
Oh, Chase Bank?
Yeah, with the
Wells
giant,
Fargo?
yeah.
The whole, yeah.
This ship was just packed
Yep.
with cocaine. But what happened?
Yeah.
Nothing.
There was no charges filed.
Nothing.
Wow.
And this is what they do.
You know, when George H.W. Bush was almost out of office, he should have been subpoenaed. He should have been impeached. He should have been arrested, just like Ronald Reagan should have.
Yes.
But it continued
Why do
after
we
that.
keep putting these
George
kinds of-
W. Bush came into office and started an illegal war in which 1 million people were killed.
Yes.
And who went to war? Not his son. Surely not his children.
Well, of course not.
Black and brown people.
Mhm.
So not only were they being sent to prison, now they're being sent to war. And they're coming back with one arm and one leg, and they're saying,
I don't
screw
know.
these guys, we ain't going to give them health care when they come back.
I don't understand all that. This, even the military, I mean, what is it about? I mean, come on. To go maim, torture, destroy, and take all
War.
the resources.
War. What is it good for?
Now, let's go over this. Now we're talking war. There's the Ukraine. Here's what really boggles my mind. Let's give the Ukraine people $1.2 billion worth of armaments and jets and this. Well, where are they going to get them? From Northrop? From
Grumman?
Grumman?
Mhm.
Oh, don't forget about Boeing.
Boeing? Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Dow, Lockheed, I
Yeah.
mean, the list goes on.
Yeah, and so what, you got to pay, give them all
Raytheon.
billions. Yeah, Raytheon.
Oh, yeah. Who gets rich on the war? The war machine.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're not going to just, I mean, they got to go get it from somewhere, so these companies, and then they turn around and sell it to them.
Man, Gil Scott-Heron made a song called the Watergate Blues back in the 70s, and he said, you know, when the roll was called, it was Phillips 66, Boeing, Dow, and Lockheed. Ask them what they're fighting for, and they'll never mention the economics of war. Ecological warfare, above all else, destroys the land. If we can't break the Asian will, we'll bomb the dikes and starve the man. But what really happened to J. Edgar Hoover? The king is proud of Patrick Gray, while America's faith is drowning
What was
beneath
sad
that
about,
cesspool, Watergate. Mm.
what was sad about J. Edgar Hoover?
Oh,
There was
the
something.
cross-dresser?
Yes.
The KKK cross-dresser?
He was always after the individuals, and it was run by Malcolm X, which had a doctorate degree.
Mhm.
He created so many nice things, but they wanted to make him out to be, and everybody thinks he was this radical black man that was wreaking havoc on the city.
That was bombing buildings and shooting people.
Yeah, and it was really, he was
an activist
created
for
WIC.
equality.
Yes, created WIC. He created all these beautiful things for the poor community.
Yes, and the Black Panthers were the same. They were contributors. They were not these
Things they made him out to
these
be.
monsters that they were created to be.
Yes.
That they were this illusion of them was
Yes.
created. Yeah, and so how does that all tie back into Hispanic Heritage Month? Because at all of that time, when all of that was going on, Corky Gonzalez was in Denver, Colorado, and he was noticing the disparity in the Denver public school system, which continues to this day.
To this very day.
And you go to inner city schools, and I haven't in a few years, but I've been in those schools. I've been in Lincoln High School. I've seen those beat up old trashy lockers. I've gone to South High School, and I've seen the difference in the school, that school.
Oh, did
I've
you go
gone
to
to
Cherry-
Thunder Ridge High School,
Or Thornton, or Cherry Creek,
or Cherry Creek High School.
and the variation. And
Oh.
whoa, where did this be? Beautiful
Absolutely.
school. Oh, they just did an addition here for the new library and everything.
And so, you know, there's definitely a need for equality. There's a need for teachers. There is a need for
Wait.
Latino teachers.
Wait, let's go to Adams City High School. Let's close it down. It's not.
Talk to me.
It's not going up. It's not just meeting our academic,
Standards.
the standards of how it should be. Let's
Mm.
close it. Let's just close it.
Wow.
It's all Latino. Let's just close it up.
Wow. So that's what's happening.
No, they didn't get to do it after all. It's just, it's
Is it a-
incredible how you go after the educational prospects. You go after all the, especially education. If you keep going, you get past that master's and you get to that doctoral, they're looking at you like, wait a minute. We had Dr. from bleeped you out. Remember on the last show?
Oh, Dr. Ramon del Castillo.
Yes. Let's
Oh.
talk. Let's just kind of brush that.
Oh, poet, activist, a man who knows his history. That's a fearful thing for his opponents.
Yeah, so they got this show that he did with Dr. Ramon and bleeped it out. And it was taken down in 249 countries as we were trying to sway the
Community
election.
standards violation.
We were trying to sway in the election and trying to change the outlook of what people think about voting. It was interesting how they said that. It's like,
Wow.
were you
that
trying to
was-
sway in the election by just speaking to Dr. Ramon?
You know, I went back and I looked at that video, Henry, and I couldn't see any reason for it to be black banned. You know,
Yeah, it was-
I didn't see
he was
anything
talking about
threatening said.
history.
Yeah, we were talking about culture. We were talking about history, exactly as we are today. But Dr. Ramon del Castillo is a very, very brilliant Latino,
Don't put
a
the,
Chicano with a master's degree, doctor's degree.
don't put that on, don't wear it. And so you notice a lot of them don't wear it.
Yeah.
They don't wear the doctoral.
You have to hide it, man.
You have
It's
to
almost-
hide it, you have to hide.
Yeah.
And it's true.
Oh.
It's okay because then they
Yeah.
don't know how to deal with you.
Let's talk about how a lot of Latino Chicano people don't speak Spanish today.
Seguro que sí. No hablan español.
No habla porque no
nunca,
puedes.
nunca.
Why?
Back in the day, if you spoke Spanish, you go home. You're out of
En la
school.
boca.
You're kicked out of school.
Yep. And so my mom grew up in southern Colorado, Walsenburg, Colorado. She went to St. Mary's High School. And if she spoke Spanish, she was put in the back of the class. If she spoke Spanish again, she was smacked in the face.
Wow.
If you did anything to display your culture, it was a punishment. And so what happened was, I call it internalization of an inferior status placed upon you by a superior class or a ruling class. And so what happened was, many of us don't speak Spanish. You know, Corky Gonzalez says, I was robbed of my culture. But I want to take it a step further. Corky, you were not robbed of your culture. Our ancestors were robbed of their culture. Spanish should not be our dominant language. That's a depressor's language.
Now, the nice thing about this, no, they also said our culture was raped.
Oh, oh my gosh,
Taco Bell.
there we go.
What's the other one? Let's go eat at,
Del Taco. Oh. Yeah, yeah. You know,
Taco.
Taco Bell voted the best Mexican
Chipotle.
restaurant. Oh, Chipotle. Yes.
It's still similar, but not quite.
Mm-hmm.
It's not really the culture. Okay, so in talking to this professor, doctor, I forgot what his name is, he had a doctorate degree. He taught me about acculturation, assimilation, and that's what they want you to do.
Mhm.
They want you to acculturate, assimilate, but then they'll rape your culture
Mhm.
to steal your foods, your put up Taco Bell, and So when I go order tacos, I said, and they created this chimichangas, or they make up these names,
Mhm.
gorditas or whatever.
Mexican pizza.
Yeah. So I says, give me 4 tacos and that cute little gordita at the window. I didn't know the difference, bro. Sorry. I had to
So what happened?
So what happened?
Hey, you're just on right exactly what I wanted to talk about today. And you know, when Columbus came, a lot changed.
When they found him lost at sea?
When he came and discovered that he was lost, you know, and he came and claimed it. You know, I just finished watching the John Leguizamo special on Netflix, the Latino History for Morons. And oh man, you gotta watch this, guys. Please, please watch this program. Sit down, take your kids out of the room. A little bit adult, but it's not bad. But I'm gonna tell you, I got my eyes opened. I got my eyes
He
opened.
is fantastic.
Yes.
I got to go see him in a play.
Mm.
It was only him.
Yeah,
So he
that's a one-man show.
Yeah, well, but he would go through a door. He said, the feminine side of me.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it was so funny, but so good. He would be a chica, then he'd be a dude. He'd be a chica. He goes, we are like that. Women create us men.
True, true.
So it's like this gets back to what you're touching about, messing with women and messing with their bodies and putting them down so much. Women are God's gift to men, and men don't like that. They don't like the idea of them being smart and having doctoral degrees, writing books, wanting their own, political status, wanting anything. And so it's true. I mean, this show by Leguizamo
Oh,
is off the hook good.
I've watched it twice. I'm gonna watch it again.
It's so good.
It's so good. Did you know, contrary to popular belief, men don't have one less rib than women? It's a lie.
What was that story about?
That was created from his rib. That is created from. It's not true, guys.
So
It's not
women
true.
are a spare rib.
Women are a spare rib. Oh, they're delicious. They're delicious. They're definitely. They're
Don't talk about the
they're
kindness, they're
definitely less from
delicious.
women, not men from.
Yeah, that's what
not
I'm
the other
talking
way
about.
around.
It's not the other way around.
Yeah, divine feminine man. So Columbus came to the United States and claimed it. You know, it's kind of like if you, I found a wallet in your back pocket and I said it's mine.
What do you think of that? Okay, so for Columbus Day, because they said it's Columbus Day, I went over to King Soopers and just packed up the whole buggy and left. They go, "What are you doing, sir?" I go, "It's Columbus Day." I'm taking it.
Just
You know.
Columbus kind of thing. You know, when Columbus landed and he saw the Tejano people, he wrote back to the King of Spain, "These people are so happy. They're so docile. They're always laughing. They're so generous. They'll give you anything. They'll make perfect slaves."
Jesus.
That was his first time he saw these people. And King Philip of Spain, he said, "Send me gold. Bring me 50 of these people." John Leguizamo talked about from a history book, the King of Spain, King Philip said, "Bring me 50 of these people. We'll put them in a zoo. We'll
In a
show you what
zoo?
animals they are."
Jesus.
Yeah.
Now, you're talking about Columbus Day, and just to insert this, Arturo Rodriguez is instrumental in changing Columbus Park to La
Raza.
Raza Park,
Right on.
which is really,
Arturo,
really,
thank you.
really beautiful, because
Mhm.
that Columbus thing stood on that
Mhm.
park for 50 years.
I
or
remember.
more.
I remember it being changed to the La Raza Park when I was a kid.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, we just nicknamed
Well,
it.
we called it the La Raza
Yeah.
Park, but officially.
Officially, it's
Yeah.
named.
Yeah. You know, I think that was one of the reasons we were banned, because Ramon del Castillo on the show that Ramon was on, because he talked about when him and Cesar Chavez and I can't remember who else. I mean, we're talking about legends, walked down 38th Avenue to the Italian people and says, "We don't have a problem with you. We love Italian people. We love the Italian culture, but we don't believe that Columbus should have been made a hero."
No, not what he did.
And I'm with him, man. I love Dr. Castillo, man.
But that was
Del
so
Castillo.
interesting, they banned you.
They banned the show. I was honored, man. I felt like, man, I made the list.
I made the list. It's so funny because KUHS Radio TV Denver has been around a long time, and we've gone through some suffrages and dealing with all these variables, from the politics to the religions to the different types of people and guests that
Egos.
come in here,
Oh.
and egos, and so we've dealt with it, and we know how to deal with it, and so it's nice that you bring this kind of show and talk about it. And then Dr. Ramon, he brought it. You guys had this beautiful show, and I was able to pull it down, save it, so it's not muted.
Oh,
I
cool.
do. I always capture it. I always do. I make sure that all the history that I'm a part of is saved. I don't care if it's pictures, whatever. I've got pictures that go way back. I got video.
Mhm.
I've got it all. So we make sure it's saved, that beautiful show, because it
Man,
was
thank you,
well
Henry.
done.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Did you know? Then they took the DNA of the mass bulk of Latino culture in the United States. 40% of them were native indigenous peoples. They couldn't say what tribe we were from, but they said 40% of the people were native people. So yeah, you're indigenous. You're indigenous. If you're Chicano, Latino, you're indigenous. Here's what really got me, that really I never thought about before. Did you know that the conquistadores never brought a single woman with them? They didn't bring any women with them. So what does that mean? These rapists came here and they raped America. They bastardized America as they bastardized the whole entire world. There's Spanish speakers in every continent. Harsh. They came with no women. When they got to the Americas. Oh, by the way, Columbus never stepped foot in the United States. He never did. Just a little key, interesting fact. There were 73 million, estimated 73 million peoples in South America when they came here. By the time they were finished, there were 3.7 million. 70 million indigenous people were wiped off the face of the earth through disease, smallpox. It only took 5 years for the Aztec Empire to go 95% of its population wiped out. 5 years. It was a shame. You know, I always remember my mom telling me I was an angry young man. I remember when I was a diversity trainer at the utility company, I was known as an angry young man too. You know what? I could never figure it out till I watched this special. There was he had a term for it. I love it. Conquest resentment. Conquest resentment.
Isn't that wild?
What a term. I had to digest that. I had to swallow it. I had to chew it up. I had to throw it up and chew it again. Because I think that this word has a lot of meaning. It's powerful.
Let me interject something here that was so good of what you just said prior to saying that. You talked about all these indigenous people and our DNAs and stuff. We had a special show here done with Dr. Arthur Garcia and Federico von Sonde Bernex out of Mexico. They do DNA kits only for the Latino people. They found out there's 625 million around the world, and they all speak fluent Spanish or a native language. Now, here is something that they spoke about that was really big, and they were almost trying to ban this from us airing this. What they said, and this is so interesting, this disease I think they created, which is COVID. They went after all these hospitals and everything, trying to get all this DNA from everybody who died or whatever, because they want to control the last frontier. They already stole your land, they stole your culture, now they want to steal your DNA so they can project into the future what kind of diseases you're going to get. So they can control you with drugs.
Or what can they pinpoint to make you die?
Yes.
Can they just put some kind of little element into your water or to your food,
exactly, and this is
and
what
it will
they
kill
touched,
you?
this is what they touched on.
Wow.
Now they're after their final frontier. So every big drug company is after this DNA. They're creating. Well, it's the you know how they have this other DNA thing that you can get. What is it?
23andMe.
Yes, all that kind of crap. And they talked about that. They have it controlled.
That 23andMe, how was that compromised? What was that about that?
What it is they're trying to control the last frontier, controlling your DNA.
And that was
Once
a big
they got a hold of you,
controversy.
yeah,
of
once
all
you
that.
got you, once they have you, once they have all this stuff of all the Latinos, the people of the indigenous people, they've got you. They've got control of you because that's what they're doing. Now, I could not believe what they were saying. It was so good. And it's exactly what you're saying here. How many there are around the world. They said if the drug company had been offering them billions of dollars for that database.
Wow.
And they says, if anybody, I said, maybe I could start my own drug company. Because this drug company that we have, all these big drug companies, do not cater to the DNA of the indigenous or the Latino, Chicano, Hispanic population. They make all this drugs for all your, like if you have diabetes or all these other things, it does not fit your DNA. We are different.
Right.
And that's why you have such trouble with your diabetes and all this other kind of stuff. And it was interesting.
Wow.
I was like, whoa. They go, these drugs aren't meant for us. They're meant for a different populace. And they do not fit us. So if you start a drug company, you come to us. I thought, Jesus,
It's impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
It's
talked to you about
interesting,
this. I
yeah.
would not go to 23andMe anymore because there was a big controversy about that. China was wanting to buy all of 23andMe.
This is
and
why.
They want
They want to
and it
control.
makes sense how that they could do some pretty wicked things with that
Extremely.
information.
This is the last frontier.
Yeah.
They got your land,
Wow.
they got your culture, they got everything. Now they want your DNA.
Now, we've always been thought to be poor, and we've always been poor. And there are no poor nations. There's just poor people. Because the nation is exploited by the rich. I've said it before. I'm a veteran of the United States. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. When war is started, there's not a war to protect the country. There's not a war to defend democracy. There's not defending freedom. It's defending gold, oil, and riches.
That's right.
Land,
Resources.
and that's what the real purpose of war is. That's what I mean. Do the research.
Taking over,
And here's why I say that. There's banks that pay both sides of the war.
That's
they
right.
pay both enemies.
Yeah. And then when they first came here from Europe, all of them, what did they create here? War after war after war after war. Civil war.
Yeah.
Fighting over lands and slavery and all these kind of things. Now, this is what is so funny. You like this. The Bloods, the Crips. What color were the North and the South?
They're black.
And what color were their clothing? Their clothing.
Oh, gray.
And then the other color?
Blue.
Okay, so they had already got their Bloods and Crips going on. Yeah, they had, what side are you on, boo?
Mhm.
You know, it's like, and they would fight each other like idiots and kill each other for what?
Wow.
Yeah.
Because we don't know who we are, because we don't know our history, because we don't know how rich this blood is. Did you know that King Philip of Spain commandeered 500,000 tons of gold from the Americas? 500,000 colts. Now let me tell you what he did with this. What this gold did. This gold funded the Spanish, the British, the French, and the Ottoman empires in the 1600s. They became fabulously wealthy on the backs of the brown people.
Mm-hmm. You know what? Have you heard this? Even like this, we talk a lot about this. Well, you guys lost the war anyway. You guys are not as smart as us. You just don't have.
They dehumanize you.
Yes, like if you don't know nothing, that's why you lost, and that's why we did this, because you didn't know how to. That ain't the truth.
It's not.
There's evil people and there's good people, and the evil can sometimes override the good people because they're so evil.
Yep, it's true. But all it takes for evil to prosper is for good men to do nothing.
That's right, and not step forward. Now, this is what's scaring them, and you said it prior. Watching us, and they were like watching and trying to say, "This, are you the janitor?" Yeah, I'm the janitor working in the back, and actually you're the owner. They always do this. Okay, so now they don't know who has doctorate degrees, they don't know who has masters, they don't know who's educated, and you can work underneath with this. And so it works out well. Paul, tell us about that one. You were saying it earlier. How they look at you. You had your yard spotless. How much you charge? You should have said, you should give him a price.
I would chuckle at him. You know, I mean, at first I'd get upset. I mean, I really did. It was an insult. But then I said, you know what? I just really took pride in, you know what? I got a house you can't afford.
I got a house you can't afford.
You know, I work hard for what I have, you know, and I was proud of it, and I've always done that, and I will just not let anyone dehumanize me anymore. You know, there's people that are right now dehumanizing us because we're Democrats. I don't know if you're a Democrat, but I'm a Democrat. I'm a liberal. I'm a proud liberal. Liberal. You know, I talked to my next door neighbor, and you know what he did? Half an hour later, my wife and I got out of the car and we drove out past his house, and he had a great big sign that said, "Let's go, Brandon."
Well, that's the most idiotic, nonsensical kind of thought, and everybody, like, they're sheeple.
Did you hear the speech that Brandon said yesterday or the day before? He said there's a lot of socialist Republicans. A lot of socialist Republicans, because now that he's passed his new finance package, all the Republicans are going and taking credit for this. Stefani, or Elise Stefani, she's saying that she did all this and that. She didn't do anything but oppose it. All of these Republicans, Mitch McConnell, kiss my butt, Mitch. You didn't do anything. Marco Rubio, the whole list.
And why are they there?
The governor of Florida, what's his name, asshole? Ron DeSantis? Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, that's good. I like the way that flowed through there. Just jumped right off there, huh?
So Spain took $32 trillion in gold from the Americas. They took $32 trillion from my land, from my ancestral land.
And then the United States goes to the Middle East and destroys all the oil companies. Then they get rid of there to go put out the fires and take over. So now they can pump the oil here. But our oil is diminishing, so we better charge the America people $10 a gallon.
Oh man, don't even get me going started on that.
Jesus Christ. What a crock of shoot, you know?
Yeah, you know, people are complaining about the price of gas, and we have the lowest price in the world here.
Yeah.
You know?
Why even have gas?
You know, they're talking about inflation, they forget about the last guy that denied the pandemic.
I know.
You know?
That last guy, even not a guy, he's like this wicked little
Poop
monster.
shorts on the golf course.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't mean to be judgmental, but man, I'll tell you, that was.
If we don't step up, Paul.
Our textbooks have zero information about Latino Chicano people. It's wrong. We're here. We have been here. We have more Medal of Honor recipients than any other race. We've been here.
And we speak our own language, and we eat our own types of foods.
I need you to write a book about
Absolutely.
Chicano Latino history.
You know, and I wrote some. I wrote a couple. You wrote some. We're all starting to write things, and that's the thing.
Yes.
When you apply it, put it down, whether it's ebooks, whether it's hardbacks, no matter what it is. Even if you're up there putting it all over the social media, even if you have shows like this,
Yes.
it's being put out there. This is recorded. This is being broadcast in 249 countries around the world, and it's been scaring the heck out of all the other networks because
Yes.
they understand this is the little choo-choo that could.
Hey guys, send us a note. Let us know where you're from. Let us know
Yeah.
where you're listening from.
Yeah.
I want to hear from you.
Yes, and he'll answer you.
I'll answer you.
And he's also available for public speaking if you ever want to get Paul.
I do keynote speaking, public speaking. I'm a storyteller, motivational speaker. I'm a healer. I do sessions. I do 16-hour and 32-hour sessions. I call it Chaos Killers. I got a short and a long extended version of the class. I do a whole bunch of that extended, things that I like to share with people. And so if you're interested in any of those things, I do terahertz frequency training, healing. And so I'm here. I'm at your service, guys. Reach out. Let me know that you heard me. There's a book that I want to recommend, guys. There's a very, very good book. I will have it by the time we have my next show. It's a book by Howard Zinn. It's called A People's History of the United States. For context, the things that I'm telling you right now come from this book, much of it. Howard Zinn, A People's History of the United States. Because, if you look at what we have contributed, I mean, it's not just tomatoes, potatoes, it's not just corn. We contributed the concept of zero. We contributed brain surgery. I mean, we contributed astronomy, astrology, anatomy. We did all kinds of beautiful, beautiful artwork. And you know what they did with our precious gold? They melted it down and turned it into coins.
Check it out.
Our precious masterpieces. I love how John Leguizamo in his program says, they take it over there and they call our work folk art, and their work is fine art.
Folk art, I know.
And then they take all our folk art and then they re-release it and they call it gentrified folk art. I love John Leguizamo, man. He's good.
You know what's interesting in aerospace? I got into the aerospace area, and it's because of this. So here's the thing. When I travel, I go there, and it's the same thing. I'm traveling with people, doctor degrees, Dr. Kurt Mate, and they says, well, where's this guy you're bringing?
I'm carrying his bags.
Yeah. And I'm all dressed down, like, how I do it, dressed down. You're really looking for somebody else.
Oh, my gosh.
And he says, no, that's your guy right there.
I love it.
It's like John Leguizamo says. It's like, you don't understand why they portray you as somebody looking differently. Why?
I remember when I was a boy, and I was sitting at a Woolworth's restaurant downtown, and my mom took me for my birthday, and she said, Hito, I'm going to tell you something. Life's going to be hard on you. And this is going to be a hard one, but you're going to have to work twice as hard to get half the credit.
But be twice as good to be half as good.
I'm going to have to be twice as smart to get half the grade. And you know what? She was right.
She was right.
She was right. I worked for the utility company, and I worked like a dog. I worked like an animal. I was consistent. I was there every day. I worked like an animal. I was the hardest working guy in the crew. Everyone would say it. But I couldn't even get an interview for a position because I was too good in the ditch.
The ditch, digging ditches.
Well, you're better than that, guys. If you're there and you're seeing yourself there and you're being held back, first of all, I want to tell you this. There's no job that has chains on it. If there's a job that has chains on it, you're definitely a slave. There's no job holding you there. There's a massive income opportunity.
And I love how you say you're not a slave. I created this thought in my mind. They've created us as debt slaves. You're a debt slave, and they put you in the hole. They put you in, barely give you enough to pay for your car, your house, a little bit of groceries. Then you have to sit there and drink your beer, and they give you beer and watch your football game, and then you got to go back to work. You travel in this car that you're paying on to this, and you don't stay in your house for 8 hours that you're paying a big mortgage on. You got to go to this place and make money for the wealthy, so they're happy. It's crazy. It's
true. You're not exaggerating. You're absolutely speaking the truth.
It's crazy. It's like, unless you use your imagination, you create,
Mhm.
and go out and get your education and then start creating and be that person that's a leader and be like you, Paul, and be pronounced in how you move forward and what you do with your life. It's how you use your life to the best and always wear your smile.
Yep. And you know what? Sometimes you have to take a step back from your life and look at your life from outside yourself. You know
You
what I did?
discover all these things, don't you, Paul?
Oh, you know what, Henry? Let me tell you. Here's what I discovered. I discovered that I could work for the utility company and I'm never going to go past this point. That's as high as I'm ever going to go. I don't care if I got a degree. I don't care what I did. This is it for me. So what I did was I said, you know what? I think I'm going to make myself my boss. And I went into sales. Because I always wanted to earn six figures. But I knew I'd never make it by the hour making six figures. And so what I did, I went into sales. And guess what? Six figures came right away. And six figures came consistently. And so I depended on me.
And not you said it, there's this young kid. We used to have this internship program for the computer business. And they had this really nice setup going for us, and they'd always send us kids. They sent me this one kid. He was dressed in goth and everything, and he was real pissed off at the world. And his mom brought him in to meet me in the internship program, and I heard him whispering to her, I already don't like this guy. And I walked up to him, when you're done, you're going to love me, dude. He changed his whole outlook on life. I showed him how to hack, how to build computers, how to do everything. We used to have the military come through there looking for individuals with these kind of skills. And so the gal would always go look over the place. She was scary because she'd go look in corners. I don't know what she was looking for. Some microphones or, for recording or whatever. Well, she picked Kevin, and he went to the military. Well, they put him into hacking into drones of other countries. And when he got out, six-figure income they offered him. Six-figure. And he always comes back to me. He always tells me, you are the guy I really liked. I didn't. I don't like this guy. It's because I would have a stoic face. I can put on that stoic face.
Not you.
Not you.
Have you ever seen Henry without a smile? Really?
Yeah, I can. I can put on that stoic
No, I'm
face.
kidding.
Yeah, well, when you're in certain areas, you got to put on this whole other facade. Yeah, it's like you put on the glasses, dress up in the suit, and then you go sit with them. They look at you. Who's this guy? And that's the variable. But he went on. There's a bunch of these kids that went on. They still come back to see me, but they killed that program within the schools. And I don't get the interns no more, which I used to love those kids. They were fun to teach because they're so bright.
Yeah, I remember you telling me about this kid.
They're so bright.
And he's still around.
He's still around. Yeah, he went to the military.
Very cool.
Very
cool. You know, guys, I know I've been saying a lot of negative things lately, for the show, but
this is negative.
I want to quantify everything I've been saying. To some of you, you might think, well, you're talking about all these things that have happened to the United, to the Americas, to Turtle Island, and all these bad things. But you know what? It gets worse. Here's it all summed up. The Aztec Empire, the Aztec conquest, was the largest, most successful destruction of a culture, a race, religion, history, science, anatomy, poetry, art, culture,
Folk art.
music, folk art, in history. The largest, most successful destruction of a culture in history. But here we are. In Hispanic Heritage Month 2022. We made it. And now, the legacy that needs to be left behind is a head held high, a smiling face, a happy heart, a contributing soul, and money in your pocket. If we, the Hispanic culture in just the United States, were gathered and all of our money, buying power was together, we'd be the 5th largest economy in the world. We got buying power. And you talk about people who support the right, and there's brown people who support the right.
I don't call it the right anymore.
Well, that's really a poor term. They're the radical right.
There you go.
Because if you think about it, the last president raised taxes on us and lowered taxes on the rich. Why are you supporting that? Why are you supporting someone who raised taxes on you and is going to have more taxes being coming up in the years to come because he put it in the law. Well, he cut taxes even lower on the super rich. Why?
Plus, he put all these people into the Supreme Court. I can't stand that Supreme Court crap.
So let's talk about the Secret Service, the Supreme Court, and organizations without accountability like Congress.
Jesus.
What is up with that, America? The Supreme Court is completely unaccountable.
At all.
The Supreme Court, or the Secret Service, this isn't the first time they've had some kind of accountability. You know, when John F. Kennedy was assassinated, the Supreme Court, all of their documents disappeared.
Of course.
Mysteriously. Did you know that the CIA has never been run by a Democrat? Never.
Ever.
What is up with that?
You know.
Yeah. But the Secret Service has no code of ethics, no standards, no accountability, much like the Supreme Court. We got to change this, man.
And they're running around rampant.
Rampant. And throwing around their weight like if they wrote the Constitution.
Right. And then they have girls in their hotels while they're guarding the president.
Guarding the president and praying over the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
Ketanji Brown Jackson, I'm so thankful. She's a breath of fresh air.
Yes.
You know what they want to do? Original. There's originality, or there's a term that they use for reading the Constitution on its original platform. She's doing it.
That's right.
She knows the
They try to question her
way better than
jaw, but-
any judge on the bench.
But that last guy went and input these two that were, their morals, their ethics, everything about them was
Questionable.
big time.
Mm-hmm. And now Brett Kavanaugh saying that he thinks that overtime should be written off. We shouldn't have overtime no more. Brett Kavanaugh. Should be okay to rape girls in the swimming pool too,
Oh, of course.
according to Brett Kavanaugh.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I know I'm opinionated on this, but man, I have strong opinions because they say there was never any evidence against Brett Kavanaugh, while Donald Trump removed all of the FBI. Did not let any FBI, gave him like 10 questions. Come on. They say, well, he was impeached. There was never any evidence. I was on a conversation with about 50 people yesterday on Facebook, and we went back and forth, and every time they'd say, but Hunter Biden, but Hillary Clinton's laptop, she ain't the president, and neither's Hunter Biden.
I don't understand that. They try to go after Hillary. What the hell?
I'm sorry, man. Don't get me started on this because this
No,
is
but
really a
it's
passionate issue for
You
me.
know, we have to discuss this on this show because your show just gets all kinds of raves and reviews, and even the Facebook community standards doesn't like this to be aired. You know, they won't even show us how many people are watching this anymore. They took away the watch party. They took away everything. It used to be 5, 6, 7, 800 people, 1,000, 1,200. You can't even get to see that no more. So this is being censored.
I agree.
In these variations.
I agree.
And we've seen it. Me and you've seen it. I looked at you, I go, did you see what they just did? They censored Dr. Ramon Castillo and you. Because you guys were talking about Hispanics.
An eloquent speaker. I mean, brilliant man, and they banned him. We're scared of you.
That's right.
We're scared
And
of
then
you.
it's coming over a network that has gotten huge. You know, because we're now on 70 platforms around the world. We're streaming to, I thought it was 246 countries, but the music company told me it's 249 because if they get us for copyright infringements. We have to fight all the backside of this setup. And
So you're my hero, man.
there's so much of the backside we fight. And a lot of people don't see how much effort and technology goes into pushing this. And it's big. You've seen it. You've seen how I have to go through all these variations. You've seen it with Dr. Ramon. You know.
I've seen the backside,
Yeah.
from the back view. Yeah, it's really something.
Isn't that, I mean, you really look at it, that is censoring.
It is censors. Yep.
Censors. And somebody told them they got to Facebook and they says,
Take it down.
Take it down.
Community standards. Hurt my feelings. Guys, Paul Chavez, Mr. International, is going to be coming up after us, and he's going to be bringing deep cuts for you. Wonderful listening, guys. I'm telling you, get your computer, turn it on to this, get KUHS, and just listen to it in the evenings. You'll really enjoy what you're here. I always say every week on my show, everyone's looking for a hero. If you can't find one, be one. This man right here, Henry, I love you, bud.
Right on, brother.
I'm so thankful to have you you know, as our station manager, as a contributor, as an activist, as a, you know, as a person who is here, man. You're here, and I love that.
And that's right, and I like you. And also, you can get Paul at any of your events, whatever, as a public speaker,
Yes.
MC, whatever you want. Paul will come there and just throw down for you whatever you want to do.
Yep, I've done storytelling for groups as small as at 5 years old, and you know, I've done motivational speaking for national organizations, you know, statewide organizations, and I'm absolutely ready and interested in coming and speak for your organization. Give me a call. My number, laneman09@comcast.net, LANEMAN09@comcast.net. Reach out. I'm here. Guys, you've been watching The Weekend Boost. I'm Paul Lane, Henry Archuleta. Thank you for joining us. Have a fantastic week. See you next time.